welcome to another edition of What's What BR. Today we've got two guests, some you might know, but they're working for you guys in the community to help out. We have Meeta Williamson and Jeanne McAllister. How are you?
Good.
Great. Good morning.
Good morning. It's a beautiful morning this Friday. Nobody knows when we actually record them, but it's the good week of weather that we had after the storm. So look, you guys are on the committee for the Mother-Son Dance with the Children's Hospital, here in Baton Rouge for everybody. So, John, tell me a little bit about, for anybody who doesn't know, we just have to back everything up. Give me a little bit about, yourself and how you found yourself on the committee and what this is.
Okay. So years ago, I actually still remember where I was driving down Corporate, and I saw the daddy-daughter dance, and they have multiple of those in Baton Rouge. And I just thought, wouldn't it be wonderful to be my son's first date and be able to create that experience, not only teaching them how to treat a woman and a lady, but just to be able to make memories as a mom with my boys. And so we, with the help of a few others, we just kind of got together, brainstormed, and put down something on paper. Eventually, we were able to launch our first dance. I'm not sure how many years ago it was, but it was a success. And then they turned around, and Our Lady of the Lake Children's did a wonderful job bringing together the committee, and Meeta being one of them. And she was the chairman that year and launched the even bigger the next year. So it's been a hit. And it's a precious event. And as a result, it's accomplished the mission and the goal of being able to really make memories between moms and their boys while supporting the Children's Hospital here in Baton Rouge.
That's awesome. So, and how long ago was that?
I want to say this is probably our fourth or fifth year. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
They start to blur together after a while. We've done a number of events ourselves, and after a while, you got to have the checklist. It's like, did we do this? I feel like I just did this, 6 months ago. Yes. So you've been involved as well sounds like kind of from the start of this,
yes,
kind of kicking it.
I heard about it at the time. My son was a baby, so I wasn't taking him to dance, but I was like, you know what? Next year, we're definitely doing this. And I was approached by Teddy Hesberg, who's in charge of the Children's Foundation at the hospital, to chair the dance. And I'd heard such great things about it. So I was super excited. I know there was a lot of buzz about it. And I actually started recruiting some of my friends who have children as well, especially young boys and stuff, to come over and be a part of the committee, because we wanted it to become something that we knew was going to be big in town, but we also wanted it to continue to grow every year to reach out to more and more moms and children across the community. And also teach our children to give back, right? I feel like it's so important that we have this fun dance and it's a great time, but also for our sons to see the reasoning behind why we're doing what we're doing and the impact that it provides on the Children's Hospital. And at the time, the Children's Hospital was not finished being built yet. We were still raising funds to build the hospital. And now that it's open, we're trying to focus on different parts of the hospital that need the funding to continue to do the great work that they do.
It's awesome. It's funny you mentioned, teaching our children. We had a show yesterday, and we had Major Don and Greg Merriweather from the Salvation Army, had come back on. And one of the things we were talking about it's so important that our children don't just have this basic, it's not an instinct to, give back, that they need to see our parents, doing that. And they need to see that is something that if you have the means to do, and they learn that. I think if you can start that early, very early, we do with our kids, we talk, it's like, Christmas is coming up, you got to clear this, these toys out. You got to go, give those, donate some of those toys. You need to get in line and help serve some food that when they see that in real life, they grow up as that's just part of one of their values. And so I think it's really interesting. We were just talking about that yesterday. So tell me, if we jump in, these events, keep growing, one of the things, that I wanted to first jump into, and it seems, again, obvious, but I think a lot of people don't realize the Children's Hospital itself. If we just talk a little bit, there, a lot of people, that I've talked to, they know it's there. They don't really understand, like, is there a reason why we have a children's hospital versus a regular hospital? Or, you'd mentioned you guys were, they're helping kind of raise. So, kind of what's the difference, for why is this important?
For me personally, I mean, I have had the experience of having to bring my child to a children's hospital and also to an ER department. So the difference is night and day when it comes to just the experience, the staff, the intimidation factor is really big. There's nothing more heartbreaking when you're, experiencing a child in a suffering or some sort of trauma, and then you don't really have the power to be able to control the environment. So the Children's Hospital has hands down been able to ease my son's fears, just be able to provide the best service in every possible way. So I've been happy with it. And I don't know how else I would explain that. Meeta, would you have something?
Yeah, I agree. It's a place where, children feel comfortable and safe. Nobody wants to bring their child to the hospital, right? Mm-hmm. Some, those of us that have experienced it, we've only been there for a day or two, but there are a lot of children in our community that are there for months, right, at a time, years. And, my background, I came from Memphis, and I grew up working kind of when I was in college volunteering at St. Jude, and it was such a special place. And when I moved to Baton Rouge, I knew that the lake had a subsidy, like a partnership with St. Jude. And there is a floor at the Children's Hospital that is in partnership with St. Jude. So some of those children are not just there for like a day or a few days. They're there for weeks at a time. So I think it's so important to make it a comfortable experience for them, a safe experience. I mean, imagine being in a room every single day, right? And an adult hospital is not as friendly or as exciting as a children's hospital, and they try to make it comfortable. And I think it was so important for Baton Rouge to have a place where it's separated, where children get the care they need, but also in an environment that is kind of soothing and comforting and they can relate to.
One of the things you guys had mentioned that, we wanted to touch on was, and I think probably one of the big differentiating factors was you both had mentioned, the child life services, that is over here at the Children's Hospital. And I'm assuming that's not over at the regular hospital. Who wants to dive and take a stab at that one for me on kind of what is child life services and how does it make a difference?
2 years ago, Labor Day weekend, my son had to have this emergency eye surgery. And so we went over to the surgery center. He had surgery, and then they had to transfer him to the Children's Hospital. And he was going to need to be there for 2 days for IV antibiotics. And I was not prepared for a stay in the hospital with him. I mean, I had some clothes and a bag. So we go to the Children's Hospital, and I'm like, wow, we're going to be here for a few days. What am I going to do with him for a few days in this room? And these ladies came in from Child Life Services, and they started asking me questions like, and talking to my son, like, what do you like? Do you like Legos? Do you like cars? What's your favorite animal? Like all this information they were gathering from him, engaging him. And so he started talking about dinosaurs and coloring books and Legos. And within like 10 minutes, they come back with like all these things for him to play with: dinosaurs, Legos, coloring books. And it was just exciting because he was so happy. And so it kept him busy while he was getting IV treatment. It kept him distracted from focusing on the treatment and more focusing on just him staying happy and comfortable. And then at the same time, they're asking me if I needed anything and how I was doing. And I think the important part of anybody, whether it's an adult or child being in a hospital, is making sure that not only are you physically getting treated correctly, but also that they're looking at your spirit and your mental health, because it's such an important part of healing. And I think for children, it's so important that when they're in this position, a lot of them are little, they can't, tell you what's going on. But if they're happy and they're comfortable, I think that mind, body, spirit is so important to take care of. And I feel like, the women and the people that are running the Child Life Services, they do a really good job in engaging the children and making them feel comfortable and addressing their needs and just making it not a scary experience. They're talking to them, including them, speaking to them like they would understand as children, not like as adults would understand. And the kids really connect with that. And I think it's super impactful for their stay.
Yeah, and I'd like to add, I mean, so our middle child was adopted from China when he was 2, so he had some medical experiences before. So he had extreme fear of needles and just, I mean, all kinds of different things. So the child life for me, they came in and they would basically get down on his level and prepare him for whether it was an IV, whether it was just preparing him before surgery. And then they would bring in iPads and they would have certain really cool videos that helped explain these things. So in a way that you couldn't explain it, they were able to get down on your child's level and kind of ease their fears and prep them. So that's one of the reasons why I think I'm so forever indebted, because I watched how they when he would shut down emotionally just from the trauma, they opened him back up, eased his worries and his concerns, and did something that really no other individual, not even a parent, can do. So, and I think about the children who experience this with chemotherapy and, or like she said, extended stays. They come in and explain how the procedures. A child doesn't know what's about to happen, so someone needs to be able to tell it to them in a version that they can understand. So that's really one of the most powerful things that they do for some of these children. It's amazing. They bring gifts and toys and.
It sounds amazing. I'm just, I'm kind of thinking, some of the, from the medical side, even just at, at the 100,000-foot view, if you've got a child in there with something, that has pain, and if you just leave them laying in the bed, they have nothing to do but focus on the pain, and the pain, would just get worse in their mind. It hurts, it hurts, it hurts. But I'm picturing, Meeta, as you said, kind of like, hey, it hurts, but hey, here's a box of Legos. Start playing with Legos. 10 minutes later, we've forgotten the fact of it hurts. And that gives better information for the doctor, because maybe it's not, they always say, is it on a 1 to 10, how bad? If you're laying in bed doing nothing, maybe it's a 7. But if you're playing with Legos and kind of forget about it, maybe it's a 2, and you get better and more accurate information for a doctor to be able to help. So yeah, I can see that would be a big deal.
They service, even little kids, babies will come in, they'll ask the mom if they want like a mobile to put above the crib. If a child needs a CAT scan, they prepare them. I mean, I've experienced a CAT scan. It's not easy to go in a big machine, but I can't imagine as a young child having to go through that. And they really just kind of, get down on their level, explain what's going to happen, and ease some of that fear as much as they can. And it's important. I think that is such a big part of treating a child, right? Is, like I said, it's not just giving them the medication or the medical treatments, but it's also easing their mental fears too, and emotional fears as well, and just making them feel comfortable.
And that's a big feat. I spoke with Fran Yu the other day on the show, and we were talking about, nurses and these people in child life services, they're meeting people for the most part, for the first time, on what very well could possibly be one of the worst days of their life, or scariest, days of their life. And we say that, and then usually, kind of we move on, but it's like, they'll spend that 15, 20 minutes with you and that gut wrenching and, how can we help? And then they've got to walk out of the room and go 8 feet down the hall and go right back in and do it again, with somebody else, no matter what it is. And so it's amazing, that they can do that, and those people and the resource, but the resources they need to do that. That's where what we wanted to get to as well here, which is the committee that you guys are on. What we've talked about is this mother-son dance, which is benefiting child life services, correct?
Yes, exactly. And it's a group of amazing women. These moms, a lot of them work hard during the day. They have full-time careers, or they have like 4 or 5 children. They're running around, but they make a commitment to serve the community and really make sure that this hospital has everything it needs to treat the children. And so I think it's just a great group of women. Some of them I've known for a while. I've met some of them, and they're new, and it's been really exciting, and it's really amazing the work that they're doing for the community.
And so tell me, how did you guys, was this originally the plan, or, does the mother-son dance, does it kind of move around and find, each year where the need, is, or has it always been a benefit, or is it always in some way benefited child life, services? Because this year, that's the main, right? That's where everything's, funneling over, if I'm correct, right?
Correct. So this year, the first year, the 100% of the proceeds will be directed toward child life.
Okay. And so let's walk through a mother-son dance, for anybody who hadn't, has been in a vacuum, is usually at some event, someplace, but right now it's not cool to have big events and big crowds of people right now. So you had to, the, word of 2020 is pivot, come up with something else. And you guys have had to, as a committee, figure out, how do we take a dance where we get moms and their sons and get everybody together and make a big to-do, about it, and get out and have a wonderful, time. How does that continue on? And you guys have found a way to do this, instead of saying, hey, we're just going to postpone until next year. It's like, no, we're going to push through. We're going to make this, we need this. So how is it working this year? Because obviously I don't think I've asked a lot of people on the show, but I'm pretty safe to say you guys didn't have a pandemic plan for if we had, a pandemic breakout. How are we going to handle this? So how's it going to work this year? So
I'll let Meeta.
So, this year we had to make a decision. We knew that we couldn't have the dance, and we knew that was the situation. We're in a pandemic, of course, but we wanted to continue. It was so important right now that we continue raising funds for the Children's Hospital. So we were, sitting down, brainstorming, and the idea of doing a virtual dance came up in just these activity boxes. And I think, if you think about, what you do virtually, hosting many activities at home, finding things to do with your son that you can't actually do in a group of 600 people, I think we cut it down to doing these boxes. And there's something exciting for every child, whether you're into art or you're into building stuff or treasure hunts. Like, the committee's done a really good job putting things together that's going to be appealing to any boy that we have out there of any like. So John can kind of go over what the boxes look like in more detail.
They have, so each day has a different theme. So there's an arts and craft day. There'll be a scavenger hunt day. There's a pizza and dance party day, and that includes like a playlist and a pizza party and different ingredients and recipe things, and just a variety of themes each day that kind of instruct you on what to do between the mom and the sons. It's super creative. I'm actually impressed. The committee, that they came up with such a great idea. To me, that's thinking outside of the box. That is truly coming up with a creative concept that can entertain at home and kind of go along with the, oblige by the pandemic, with everything that's going on, and doing it safely. So I think they did a wonderful job with that.
Yeah, I talked with Teddy, a few weeks ago when, this was kind of coming to formation and how it was going to work and, how it is. And so, and it was kind of an all hands on deck, from what I heard from the committee of, hey, how are we going to do this? Not only, okay, what are the activities, but then how do we get the activity, and how do we get it here? How do we logistically get it into, how do we get it in the box, and how do we get the box to the person? How does somebody get the box? And so, with that, let's just jump in, how does someone participate this year? What's the next step? I'm doubting we're not wanting everybody to show up at the hospital, right? We've got internet. I'm sure we can do something there.
So you can get these boxes on the website for the Children's Hospital, but also we're going to have pickup locations where you can get these boxes. Giggles, Simply Chic, Victoria's Toy Station has pickup boxes as well, and Capital Wellness Solutions. So there's multiple locations across the community where you can pick up these boxes. Also, if you get on Our Lady Lake Children's Hospital website, you can order whichever box you want. And if you also want to donate a box to the Children's Hospital, you can do that as well.
I think were y'all doing, Teddy mentioned the option, you've mentioned, donate the box, and maybe I'm just saying it a different way, but if maybe your kids are grown or you've got grandkids and you want to buy a box, for them, you can do that, kind of on their behalf, right? That's an okay thing as well, I'm sure.
Absolutely. We would love that.
So what we've got to do, we're just kind of kicking off, right? I think we're in the, early days of kind of kicking this off. This is going to be, what's the driver, kind of walk me through a timeline, of kind of where this, when does it kick off? When did it kick off? Should you get your box by, because we've only got so many boxes, right? This isn't an infinite supply of boxes. This is kind of if you want to participate, this isn't something you want to put off to the last minute. I know, usually most people will try to, well, it's online, I'll just go do it, tomorrow. I can always do it tomorrow after the kids go to bed. But it's like, no, take a couple minutes to do this because they will run out pretty quickly. So what's the timeline in a perfect world that we need people to make some notes? What's the milestones here?
So from what they're available online right now, and they will be extended.
So it started, the event started about 2 weeks ago. We started going live with selling the boxes. We're going to continue to the end of the month. You can purchase them at ololchildrens.org. The standard box is $100. The VIP box is $150. And there's also t-shirts that you can get for moms and sons on our website. You can donate a box to a children's hospital. Those options are available. You can get a sibling box, a yard sign, a face mask. Those are all available on the website. And it's going to last through the end of the month. And we may continue a little bit into December, but right now that's what we're focusing on. And every week, starting, I believe next week, we're going to start having a raffle once a week. So there's raffle prizes available for the moms. Every week we'll have that for the boxes purchased that week. So it's some exciting stuff coming through the pipeline for this.
I was going to add, that's the other incentive of purchasing your box sooner. So when you purchase a box, you are registered for these raffle prizes that include vacation homes and things like that. Pamper days, a lot of really cool prizes for moms.
So that would be, and so this is going to run, throughout the course of November, maybe a little bit, maybe a little beyond, but at the end of the day, if you're looking for something outside of the norm, it's to get the iPads, go charge them, do something besides, iPad or YouTube for the kids. These are the activities, you've done the homework, and you can support, the Children's Hospital. So this is a quick, easy, order. If they order, do you have to pick up at one of those locations, or can they be mailed, to you, or how's that?
Yes, we can mail them to you. We can, some of them can be dropped off, and we can even send them over to the pickup locations as well.
Okay. So pretty much nobody's got an excuse at this point. It's, if you're watching, you've heard about it, you know where to go. You can pick it up as you're running errands. You can have it mailed to you. You've got weeks worth of activities to do for you and the son. And these are the things that, may not seem, and if I go on a limb, may not seem like it's that big of a deal, but these are the things that become a big deal when you're able to look back, 5 years, 10 years, and go, hey, get somebody, get, your husband, take some pictures, take some pictures yourself as you go through and do these activities. These are the things you're going to look back on, and wish that you've got to make the memories, at some point. And this is a great way to do it.
Absolutely. It's a good time to disconnect and to spend some quality time with your kids, right? The activities that we've put in these boxes, it's a good time to spend quality time with your children. I think sometimes we are so busy in this go, go, go world, and we're always connected to our phones and our iPads. And it's a good time to just sit down and have fun with your kids, do these activities. The treasure hunt is super exciting. I can't wait to do that with my son. It's just fun. It's a good memory, good bonding time. Thanksgiving break is coming up. It's great for something for them to do and keep them busy during that whole week while they're at home and not at school. So, and it's also a good way to give back to the community.
Yeah. And it's also a good way for grandparents, if they want to purchase a box for, their daughter and their son, their grandson. So, I mean, there's kind of a bunch of alternatives. It doesn't just have to be the mother purchasing. The grandparent sees, this and says, hey, I love what the Children's Hospital does. I have grandchildren, so they want to be involved. They can do that too.
Well, I would think, and I would challenge all of our grandparents or the parents to look at this as, if you think back in your mind, and I'm going to, I'll paint a picture to hopefully, drive the sale home for you. It's, if you look back at last year's, maybe Thanksgiving, you went and got everybody together, you've got family, you've got them all there. You find the kids, I don't know when they start, 5, I've got a 12-year-old that's going on 24, and I've got 7-year-old twin boys. And I'm guilty of it too myself. If you paint that picture back, it's like everybody, you kind of bring them to the house for Thanksgiving. Hey, how's everybody doing? People are kind of getting food. And then what happens? They all end up, all those kids, they clump up on their couch and they're staring at screens. They're staring at their iPads. They're staring at the phones. Or what game do you have? What do you have here? And then what do we do as parents? We try to kick them out, go outside. We'll call you once. This would be a perfect opportunity to get, your brother, your sister, your grandkids, y'all band together and say, hey, buy the boxes now, get them, have some fun with the activities, but bring them over, on Thanksgiving Day. And we don't have to sit here, and play on iPads, all day. We're going to, we'll eat. And after that, we'll actually spend some time with the kids. Everybody can get photos of everybody down on the floor, kind of playing some games. And those are the things that you're going to look back on. And that's what you're going to miss, when, I don't mean to sound, bad, but, our families and, I bet we're all in this sandwich generation, we're all close to the same age where we're taking care of our kids. Our parents are getting older to where that's the memory that, and, God forbid, unfortunately, as our parents may pass, that one day you can look back and remember that day, that Thanksgiving Day, that, look, there's a photo. That's all the kids. That's mom, that's dad. They're all on the floor. They're playing. They're not just staring at a screen, and so I think that's, if anything, that's my pitch, that's to challenge everybody to, get the box and bring it over for Thanksgiving and, do some of the activities before, pick some. Maybe it's everybody save your scavenger hunt for Thanksgiving Day and have all the kids just go run, and do it together. So.
And, right now I kind of look at it as with COVID, the children are, they're experiencing just so many different things now. And so I think that naturally, as a mom of 3 kids, I find myself on, whether I'm doing something or communicating on the cell phone or the computer, and they'll say, just put it down for a minute. And then when I give them my devoted attention, whether it's through a craft or just something simple, it's amazing how they light up. And so I feel like it's bringing some normalcy too during this whole, experience with COVID. So, and I think I almost challenge the moms, or like I said, if it's grandparents watching this, to purchase the box, not only as an opportunity to say, look, this is us supporting the community, but also as a way to just, to give that undevoted time to the children. I mean, they light up. I mean, it's like fuel. It's so cute. And that's what these committee moms, they sat around and they came up with these really cool ideas of what works in their homes. So they took the best of the best ideas and put them in a box. It's almost like Pinterest in a box. That's kind of how I see. And you don't even have to go look on Pinterest. It's easy. It's already there. So your purchase is tax deductible as a donation, but it's also going to bring nothing but good things. So I think that there's a lot of rewards in it.
Yeah, and
I like the. Go ahead.
They're putting these little boxes together. And I was there the other day helping them stuff the little boxes and put these packages. And it's really neat how many things these committee moms have thought of. Like, they're super creative. We have some moms that are so creative and they're so engaged. And it's everything that, like, I'm looking at this, I'm like, this is everything my son would love to play with in one box. So they've done a really outstanding job. So I'm really excited for everybody to experience that with their sons.
I think it's 2 things. I like the concept is Pinterest in a box, because I think everybody goes through Pinterest and says, I'm going to do this one day, and you're pinning the stuff and you say, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go buy it. We're going to make it. And we all know we never do, we're just so busy. Let's be honest.
It's like,
but the other thing, we did, and for somebody, if you're not sure, Jeanne, to go back to what you talked about, if you're not sure, we did a story, I don't know how many years ago, let the kids play, throw something, put the toys on the ground, put it in the living room when you're normally sitting there and you're, checking your Pinterest, your Facebook, doing emails. Just take an hour and put your phone down and just grab a piece of paper and put a little tally mark every time your child looks up at you. And then they go back to play. You'll be amazed you don't even realize it. We're on our phones, we're busy, we're trying to keep up with things. But, if you want the test to see, like I said, grab a piece of paper or keep it on, do the tally on your phone, but watch your children, watch them play, in the room and look at how many times they'll stop what they're doing and look up over at you and just keep the tally, and you'll be amazed. And you might see that it's, 15, 20 times. And then think about it. It's kind of a gut check, but it's they playing and they're looking for my, support or approval or wanting me to be involved. But normally I'm staring at, an iPad or doing something else. And this can help break some of that cycle where it's, hey, we're going to get the box. We're going to support the hospital. We're going to take care of, child life services and help them with what they need. And I'm going to be able to spend, time with my child, not on a pad. It's not, there's kind of like there's no downside to this. You're helping the hospital, which is helping a group inside the hospital, Child Life Services. It's helping you build time, and relationships, with your children and letting them see that they're important to you. And, you're going to be able to get some pictures, get some memories that you're going to look back on. And I think we're all I know 100% we've all got our camera rolls from March 13th, till today, and they'll keep going to whenever this is. But in 5 years from now, you're going to look back and go like, I've got pictures of my kids playing Jenga, on the floor.
Right.
I hadn't pulled Jenga out, since probably I was a kid. But that picture seems goofy when you take it, or it's no big deal. But in 5 years, you're going to look back and go, wow, look how small they were. And look, that's what we did during, the pandemic. And I think this is a great way to build some of those memories. And you don't have, it might sound like $100 for a box, but it's all in there for you.
Absolutely. And I think with Thanksgiving coming up, I think the one thing that most families, we focus on is Thanksgiving, right? So I think it's also a good time to teach that lesson of, we're thankful for our health, and giving back is so important as well, especially to a hospital where they take such good care of children. And, I think to me, the most important part of all of this is that, this is to make sure that those children who are in the hospital feel comfortable and feel safe, and, feel a little relaxed. And I think that's so important for the mission of the hospital is taking care of the whole child, not just treating them for their sickness, but also making sure that they're mentally happy, emotionally comfortable. I think that's such an important way of treating the kids that are in the hospital.
Absolutely. Well, guys, I think it's awesome what you're doing. I think, the time, the commitment to pull this off is not something this is not an easy task. This isn't one of those committees that I know, that you just jump on a phone call or now, jump on a Zoom and say, this is what we're going to do. This was tactically trying to figure out, how are we going to do this? We have to push on. What are the options? How do we get it? You've got logistics of ordering and buying and stuffing and packing and delivering. So I just, thank you guys for, that, and for everybody else that's on the committee as well. I think it's going to be, I hope it's successful. I can't see why it would not be. And hopefully we can help get the message out here. And we thank you for everything you guys have done. So, and giving us the time here to talk about it, because
thank you so much for all your support, and we appreciate it.
We do what we can when we can, and we'd love to have you, back on, and maybe bring a box next time. Start pulling some things out of what's on there. Let people kind of get a sneak peek of a couple things. So,
absolutely.
Well, we appreciate it. Y'all have an awesome day, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
All right.
Bye.